Hello everybody, we are here with your Cernunnos guide. We're going to be playing good old Cernunnos over in the duo lane. So that means we're going to be grabbing ourselves Hunter's Blessing, tier 1 going into Devos, couple of healing potions, couple of multi-potions, and a purification beads. The builds right now, this is our first guide post mid-season patch. I will let you know that none of the builds are currently set in stone, and they probably won't be set in stone for at least a couple of weeks. So we'll be giving you some of the most updated build coverage of where people are leaning into, which doesn't mean that the builds won't change a little bit in the coming weeks, especially after some buffs and nerfs come through in the next patch, but you'll have a good general idea of where to be looking.
Greetings.
So on Cernunnos, we're going to be starting off with our 2. This is the ability that we are going to get at level 1 and will also max first. It is called Bramble Blast. It is your AoE clearing ability. It does a burst damage initially on the target. And then it does a bleed over time in that area. If you hit the target directly with this ability, it is also a 1-second root. So it does damage initially, burst, then it sits down, and if you hit somebody with the actual line portion of the ability, it will also be a 1-second root. That bramble area lasts on the floor, I want to say, for 5 seconds. 5 seconds, there it is. And it does that damage tick every 0.5 seconds. So it's very good for minion clear, because obviously the minions are not going to run out of that Bramble Blast area. So they just sit there and take that bonus tick damage. At level 2, we are going to get our 3. This is our getaway skill. Pretty straightforward. On Cernunnos, it is a dash forward. It dashes through enemies, through minions, through gods, everything, and it does damage. It's a fairly medium distance dash. Not super long, not super short. Right about in the middle. So when we're trying to use our 2 to clear the wave, we want to make sure that we're trying to hit the most of the wave that we can to get it inside of that Bramble Blast area. You can see that I missed a little bit of the archers right there, so they didn't sit in there and take all of the bleed damage. That's not what you want. You want to try to get as many of them in that range as you can. So you usually go ahead and fire your 2 kind of at the side. I'm going to try to stand in front of my Athena just to make sure he doesn't get ganked. I'm going to go throw out a little duo lane ward as well over that wall. And pop my health potion just to make sure that I'm at full HP. What you're kind of looking to do with the Bramble Blast is you want to kind of throw it in the middle, so that way it hits both the melees and the archers just like that. We're going to rank up our level 2 again here at level 3. Our 1 is going to be the ability that we max second. So in order on Cernunnos, we max 4, 2, 1, 3 is the order that I like. Some people like 4, 2, 3, 1. But I would recommend, for the most part, not doing that. Oh my goodness, we are very dead. Because if you level up your 3 before your 1, it heavily encourages using your dash as an aggressive ability, which at an extremely high level of play can be a good idea. So you might see people like Zapman maybe level the 3 before the 1. But I really would discourage you from doing that, particularly while you are learning. Something we haven't talked about yet is one of the coolest parts and one of the most unique parts about Cernunnos, which is going to be his passive. Cernunnos is a hunter that likes fighting in melee range. The reason why he likes fighting in melee range is his auto attack becomes AoE when it is in melee range. Not only does it become AoE, but it also does an extra 25% of your basic attack damage when you are in that melee range. You can see why using your 3 aggressively to get into range of somebody and then fighting them in melee range could be a very good idea on Cernunnos. It's just very risky. So you get an extra 25% damage. You're going to use this on minions a lot. So make sure when you're fighting things like the purple buff, like the harpies, make sure you're getting in range of that plus 25% damage. When you're in the laning phase, it's a little bit scarier to walk up to the minions to get that bonus damage, and it's usually not even going to be that worth it. So I wouldn't necessarily bother unless you're confident that you're not going to get poked out your brains by walking up into the range of those minions. Your HP comes first. Our first ability, and the ability that I think people have the hardest time with utilizing on Cernunnos, is going to be his Shifter of Seasons. Shifter of Seasons is a toggle that is always on your character. It doesn't cost you mana or anything like Shibalanke. It is just a toggle that is always on. Got ourselves a little fight right here. You can see the passive glaive above slowly searching through different colors. There are 4 different colors for certain. We'll start off by talking about this green stance. This green stance is the stance that you're going to use a lot while you're farming minions. This is your healing stance. This will give you just % healing, just like you had a lifesteal item while you're inside of it. Your yellow stance is going to give you extra damage. This is going to give you some extra flat damage on top of your auto attacks. Then you've got orange stance. These are also seasonal. It is also considered spring, summer, fall, and winter, but we call them by their colors because that's what we actually look at. The orange stance is going to be one of your better stances. This is going to be penetration that you get. And finally, at the very end, your winter stance, your blue stance, this is going to give you a slow. So that is, once again, green spring, life steal, 5 to 15%. Summer heat, 5 to 25. I don't like summer stance that much. It can be okay for PvE when you're at full HP, but I actually think it's the worst stance. Autumn stance gives you pen, which can be very nice. At the very beginning of the game, it's only 5, but by the end of the game, it's 25 reduced protections. This is physical and magical. Physical and magical protections. And my personal favorite stance, I just probably killed myself right there. The second that I dashed in, I heard be careful left. It doesn't even matter because I'm not going to be able to fight into this Jingwei, so it's not even super relevant. My favorite stance is going to be your winter stance. It is a 7 to 15% slow, which isn't that significant of a slow, but you will find that if you are in a auto attack battle, what you can often do is rotate to this stance and utilize it to guaranteed land your autos. Towards the end of the game, making sure you land more of your autos is going to be very important. Autumn becomes very important against tanks and whatnot, and spring becomes very good just in general for PvEing and maintaining your life.
Enemy missing middle.
Our final ability on Cernunnos is our ultimate. Cern's ulti is a big fat circle. Inside of that circle, if enemies are within it after the delay, it is a 1 second delay on that ability. If enemies are inside after that 1 second delay, they will take damage and they will become polymorphed for 2 seconds. Polymorph means they're basically turned into an animal. In Smite, this means that you are both disarm and silence. You can't cast abilities. You can't use auto attacks, as well as it is a 20% slow.
Enemy missing middle.
And that is all of Cern's abilities. As we stated earlier, the abilities that you're going to max out is going to be 4, 2, 1, 3. You got to get your ultimate every single time that you can. You're going to max out your Bramble Blast. Then you're going to get your nice seasonal action going. And finally, ranking up your dash. The dash on Cern, also, you can see that it gets a lower cooldown as you rank it up. Another reason why, at a higher level, people rank up this ability. Oftentimes before they're won. If you want to mess around with it, of course, feel free to level up your 3 before your 1. Mess around with that, see what is better for your personal play style. Sometimes I even mix it up depending on the game to see what exactly is going to be going down against different characters and stuff. I'm going to switch over to my cold stance so I can get some bonus damage on this Jingwei as she's coming into the lane. Got a couple of extra bonus damage attacks in on her. Switching back over now to my healing stance as I'm just doing some PvE. On Cernunnos right now, we got the Hunter's Blessing, which is very standard over here in the duo lane. I like Hunter's Blessing on gods that are a little bit safer, gods that have dashes. I actually like the Warrior's Blessing on gods that are maybe a little bit more gankable in the duo lane. Gods like AMC, Artemis, stuff like that. I'm moving myself into the attack speed boots. I like attack speed boots on Cern because of the way that interacts with your 1. You need a little bit of attack speed to make sure that you can rotate through these effects, to make sure that you can get all these different effects on people. So I like the attack speed boots over the warrior tab eye for that reason. That way when you're switching through and going through all these stances, you can go like autumn stance, cold stance, bam, get to my healing stance. And you can be getting off all those effects as fast as you need them to be going off. Over in the duo lane, of course, your #1 priority is farming. This means that after a couple of backs, you're going to want to start buying some wards for this lane. It is your duty to really ward your lane to make sure that you're not going to get ganked. It's not really the support's job. They've got more important things. So we're going to put out a little defensive ward right here. I'm going to switch over to my cold stance because it looks like a fight might be breaking out. If this guy tries to come back in the lane, then I'm going to throw my second ward out right there. Look at that. There's a Nike looking for a gank. Thank the Lord that we had our wards. Switching over to my slow stance, trying to get in range of this Jingwei. Not going to be able to, but I am going to look over at Nike in the side of the jungle right now. That's some huge damage. I'm just going to keep throwing down these slows onto Jingwei. I'm going to switch over to my damage stance because I had him plenty slowed. Looks like we might continue diving through this. I'm going to try to land the route where he's going, but he's just too fast, and so he's going to get away. A little bit greedy there on the chase. Switching back over to my slow stance in case I see somebody in the jungle that I need to fight. I can throw out a second ward again because my earlier ward was countered by a sentry. Going back to get the farm, remembering to prioritize farm over everything else. It is very, very important for you to get farm. I'm going to wait for this Jingwei to come back to lane. Put some pressure on him. Land my root right on him. Now I'm going to try to get into melee range because I get that bonus damage. I'm going to pop my beads to try to dash through and get the kill. But unfortunately, Kepri and Goobus rotated over as well. That's just a little bit unlucky that we couldn't get in the range of the dash. For our third item here, we're going to be going into a raid. So I like 2 different build orders right now on my ADCs. I like Devo Gloves, Boots, Rage, or if you feel like you need more penetration more early, I like Devo Gloves, Boots, Atalanta's Rage. So crit is still very, very strong right now in the meta. You're gonna see it a lot both from hunters and even from some assassins that are very good right now in the jungle, along with their things like Golden Blade. You're gonna see a lot of Mercury building crit. You're gonna see a lot of auto attack junglers, period, right now. So because this team I'm not feeling is gonna be too tanky, they've got the Kepri and the Nike, but it's a Kepri jungle, meaning that's gonna be a damage-oriented Nike in the jungle. And they've got a mage in the solo lane with the Ao Pooch, so he probably won't be extraordinarily tanky either. So I'm going to go the Rage as my first item. Rage is also going to be the better item in general for helping you 1v1 against the ADC, because those random crits that you can get can really, really change a fight. You can actually see that he is running the exact same build as well. He's got the Devo Gloves. into the boots into the upcoming rage. This is the kind of more common hunter build being built right here at the start of the game. Atalanta's bow is one of our new items in this patch. That is a very fast Nike. You can see him chasing me down. I'm gonna try to get my slow on him, and now I'm switching over to my healing stance. Try to get as much of that heal as I can. Woo! There is also a Anubis over here. 4 people over here now. Gotta be very careful about this dive, but I've got so much heal potential. But I'm in my 1, and I got my Devo gloves. Look at all this healing that we're doing right now. Almost back up to full health already. And they're gonna go for the Gold Fury, so it's a good thing that I stuck around. They've got this warded, so I gotta be careful. I did get the root onto the Gooby, but it's not gonna be enough. Now we gotta run away once again from that Gold Fury side. They're probably gonna dive around the back for me. I don't really have a choice but to try to back right here. I'm gonna stay now and just try to kill the Capri. It's all I can do. Switching over to my slow stance, so Capri hopefully can't get out of this. He cannot. Fantastic. Utilizing our stances in these fights, as many of them as we can. And now I'm going to be able to heal up all nice and dandy off of this wave and go get my purple buff. After our rage, we're going to be going into the Atalanta's bow that I mentioned beforehand. Atalanta's bow got changed in this mid-season patch, probably one of the biggest changes. And the way I would think about it is I would consider it your new Executioner. It's not the exact same as Executioner, so we'll talk about the differences. But in general, wow, that is a lot of damage. I might be dead here. It is just a better item.
Be careful, right?
Just a generically better item. So let's grab this rage, we'll grab our Aegis, and we can start looking at this Atalanta's bow. So Atalanta's bow is about 200 gold more expensive than Executioner right now. It gives 25 physical power, which is 10 less than Executioner. It gives 30% attack speed, which is 5% more than Executioner. And it gives 20% physical penetration, which is 1% less pen than Executioner gives right now if you have all 3 of your auto attack stacks on them. The big thing about Atalanta's bow is going to be its passive. Atalanta's bow passive, if you are in range to get credit for a kill or an assist, you will gain an additional 20% attack speed, and you will have your movement speed penalty for attacking, backpedaling, and strafing reduced by 40%. This means that when you attack, so when you attack in Smite, you can see that I'm going slower than when I'm not attacking. You have that penalty reduced by 40%. This is very, very strong. It is a small version of the old gas pedal of Hastened Fatalis from back in the day. It is insanely good. Oh, that Jingwei is at 1 HP, but their entire team is here, so this is very risky right now. If Athena can continue to dive and get that kill, that'd be great. Jingwei is a very hard hunter to go against because Jingwei is one of the single best farmers in the game. With her passive being able to fly back the lane, you will find that Jingwei is almost always a higher level than you, unless you get some good kills on her towards the early game where you can try to snowball. Just the nature of her passive, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Happens to everybody. After Atalanta's bow, when we get this 20% physical pen, reminder that there is a 40% pen cap in Smite. So you only can get up to 40. After this Atalanta's bow, I'm gonna go Wind Demon. Wind Demon has also gotten some changes in this new patch. 25 physical power, 15% attack speed, and 15% crit. So not the craziest stats you've ever seen, but when you get a crit, when you have Wind Demon, you gain another 10% physical penetration, so it's a pen item now, and you also get 20% movement speed and attack speed. That is huge. That's a big deal. Keeping my eyes on the ward on that map for the Jingwei to come behind me. When I'm fighting people right now, My preferred goal is to start an autumn stance. I want to hit him with autumn stance one time because that's going to give them 25 reduced protections for 5 seconds, which is really going to be the entire fight. As soon as I'm done with autumn stance, I click it once and I can get over to my cold stance if I want to guaranteed land those autos, or I click it one more time and I can get it over to the healing stance. I really don't use the summer stance that much. I don't find 30 bonus damage to be nearly as important as all of the other stances.
Be careful.
We need
Gold Fury's coming back up, so we got to make sure that we're kind of set up around this. Jingwei showed herself around the portal, but she can always fly back in really easily. But I'm actually going to try to start this the second that it spawns, because they just did pyro. I'm switching over to my summer stance now because I want to get any potential bonus damage on this Oni Fury. But now there's a Gooby here, so I'm switching over to autumn stance, trying to get in range. There we go. Now he's got the minus protections on him. I'm going to go back and continue to do the Oni Fury, making sure, obviously, you see I'm in melee range, so I'm getting that 25% bonus damage. And I switched over to my healing spring stance to get as many heals as possible. I'm gonna use my ultimate in order to get Nike out of her one that was doing damage on me. Unfortunately, it looks like they got the Gold Fury. I'm not even sure what got the Gold Fury for them. You gotta be careful doing these new purple buffs. The new purple buff gives you minus 20% protections, which is obviously a crazy amount of protections to be down, but it also makes it so minions don't aggro on you during that duration. It's a very, very interesting buff that has some implications at high level gameplay. I'm just trying to stop them right now from coming down and doing the Phoenix. And they're gonna head over to do the Fire Giant, which really I can't contest, so it's not so much my problem. I'm just gonna make sure we kill the Onis here in mid, and then I'm gonna head back over to my duo lane. So after the Atalantas, we get the Wind Demon. With the Atalantas and the Wind Demon, we have potentially 30% penetration out of 40%, which is awesome. So we're going to get that going. We'll have a solid bit of crit chance. I've only got one stack of my rage right now. We haven't had that many good fights, so we're not getting that super properly stacked, but it's a good thing that I got it early to have any hope at any stacks at all. And you can see that even though the Jingwei had a really big level lead, as long as we sit around and we get our farm going, we still ended up with a nice only one level deficit, even though her team is winning the game right now. You just got to make sure you're prioritizing your farm. Much like a lot of roles right now in Smite, make sure you're prioritizing farms, so that way, even in the worst case scenario where you fall behind, you're only behind a level or two by the end of the game when you're really getting into the team fights. Now we got to be careful because they're going to shove up for the left T2, it seems. Our buffs are coming up as well. So I need to stand back in these team fights. As a hunter, it is, of course, my job to be killing their front line as they dive in, as well as doing as much damage to the back line as possible when I can get through to them. Cernunnos has a lot of CC, and he's fairly safe with his escape ability. So he has a decent time against some of the frontline divers, like Nike, where some of the other hunters would have a little bit more trouble with that. Cernunnos actually does all right. Use my autumn stance to take away some of his protections. I'm using my root to go ahead and get him in the range of my ultimate, and now I'm keeping my frost stance on to make sure I've got as much slowing as possible on these guys. We've got the Atalanta's bow proc, which you can see how effective it makes me in my running, and I get the gas pedal all the way back down on this. We did end up losing a Phoenix, but we have ourselves the first really decent team fight of the game, and we get our rage up to 4 stacks. So in that team fight, I sat there, I focused on the Kepri until I got him low enough that I thought we could burn him. So I get him down a little bit low. I have him with the autumn stance to make sure that he has reduced protections. Hit him with the slow, combine it with the root, bada bing, bada boom. Now, for attacking towers, a lot of players think this. Look at that tower damage, watch it. Summer does not do more damage to towers. No matter how many times people tell you that summer heat does more damage to towers, it does not. None of your stances affect towers. They will affect things like the Gold Fury and the Fire Giant. They do not affect towers. Now, your passive does affect towers. That's right. If you are in melee range of a tower, this plus 25% of your basic attack damage will proc on the tower. So your 1 does not work on towers, but your passive does. All right? That is how that works. Here at the very end, I am now going to go into a Deathbringer, a fully stacked Rage Wind Demon Deathbringer. I want to say it's 80% crit chance. I think it's 45 Rage. You get the 15 from here, so that's 60. And then Deathbringer gives 25. I think it's 85 maybe. 85% crit chance. You get a lot of crit chance. And we're going to have a lot of damage against everybody this game. The reason why I like crit so much right now as well on Hunters is when you combine it with the percent pen, crit is actually quite good, even against tankier targets. Because we've got 30% pen, we're taking away 30% of their armor right off the bat. On even our very first auto, it's not like with Executioner we had to like wait and wait and wait and wait. It's just right off the bat. You can see why I like the slow so much as well. Keeping that guy in range of my auto attacks for as long as humanly possible. I don't think we're gonna be able to defend this right Phoenix. Oh, they're actually coming over towards mid. They're gonna go for mid Phoenix. We do have chance to defend mid Phoenix, and they're not committing to a Phoenix at all. Very nice for us right there. Now, chances are the game won't go long enough for us to buy a 6th item, but for a 6th item, you've got so many options right now. You could go more lifesteal, something as simple as a Blood Force. You could go Executioner, which might not make any sense, but let's talk about it. I said I was going to talk about the difference between their pens. So Atalanta's bow, penetration, 20%, right? This is an innate pen on your character. This applies to your percent pen cap. So every character has a 40% pen cap. You can see right there, I've got 30% because I had a crit for my Wind Demon, 20% without the crit on me. Executioner is not innate penetration on your character. Executioner is a debuff on the enemy, meaning that it is a 21% potential debuff of armor that's applying before your penetration. So if you had somebody with 100 protections on them and you had full Executioner, that's minus 21% armor, so that's minus 21 armor, and then your percent penetration would apply. So you would take away 21 from them, and then they would have 79 armor left, and then you would do your 30% pen from that 79, giving you even more penetration. It doesn't like all add together and become like a giant 50% pen number. It's not quite that efficient. We're gonna get ourselves a Deathbringer. Now we've got the crit all wrapped up, and we will slap. Our damage is high. Looking towards this left lane. Oh, we might be able to have ourselves a good fight here. As long as we're a little bit careful, we've got some big potential with the Kukulkan with the Athena. It is my job to just sit back. As much as I want to run forward and be crazy, I've got to sit back, be a little bit careful here on Cern. None of your abilities on Cern go through walls. You can use your ulti over a wall, but none of your abilities go through walls. Keep in mind, though, you can auto-attack, like, through your own Phoenix and stuff. Khepri's coming into range, so I'm going to get a little Autumn proc on him, get some nice damage. I'm going to go ulti right into all of these guys. We got a huge ulti on that. Now I'm using my slow stance on the outpooch to make sure he can't get out any of this nonsense. I got to look at the Jingwei in the back. He needs to be in my priority target because he's hitting so hard, so I'm diving him in the back line. Now that he's gone, I'm going to reset back here towards my team. Khepri's trying to get the Phoenix. I'm not going to let him. Now I'm going to look at the pooch. I'm going to try to clean up on this pooch as well. Moving my way finally over to this Nike on the other side. And we have successfully defended our Phoenix. And now we should counter shove right on out. We should head right down the middle lane. Okay. I'm going to grab this red buff here in this later stage of the game. My Kukulkan is dead. I want the bonus damage from that. I'm going to get this little cooldown on the Gold Fury to make sure we have the vision for it when it comes up. Now that I've got the fully stacked, I can actually do the math. 15% crit. We got 60%, 85% crit with this build right now. I'm going to get in range of my melee autos just so I can show you guys that bonus damage effect. Looking at the Jingwei, that is her beat. I'm going to switch to my slowing stance. Oh, I didn't get some crits off of that, so I got to be careful. I'm just going to reset, switch to my healing stance, and full heal off this speed buff. And I'm going to sit right here being greedy. Just like that, I knew the Jingwei would stick around on this. I'm going to try to dash out of this right now. I'm turning around on this fight. I'm still in a kind of okay spot. Throwing down the ultimate. There's big potential right here. If we can get everybody back in this range. Athena's back in this fight. Nike's going to dive me, though, and get the kill. I had the Jingwei right on that corner. Dead to rights. We got him. Unfortunately, all 5 members of the team ended up being there. And I didn't call it out for my boys for them to be ready quick enough because we almost had the Gooby and everybody off of that fight. Now that we're getting here towards the very end, let's go ahead, grab an elixir of speed. This game looks like it could go on for at least another 5 to 10 minutes. So we grab the elixir of speed, we get rid of our boot. Now, we get a bunch of bonus attack speed from ATALANTA'S, another 20%. We get a bunch from Wind Demon, another 20%.
Be careful.
I don't necessarily need more attack speed at this point, so I could go with something just with some penetration. I could go something with 10% pen. I could go Fail Not. It would give me a 100% crit chance and some cooldown. It's a pretty good ability. I could go Titan's Bane to try to overcap stuff. What I'm going to actually do here is I'm just going to get me a Heart Seeker. Heart Seeker is just big, fat damage. They also reduced its cost by 200 gold, putting it in an even better spot right now. Khepri's thinking he's cool, going to be diving this tower. He ain't that cool. He's going to be going down. That's another kill for us. They're not going to be able to get that. Make sure we're defending all of these lanes. There's so many great options at the end of the game for a 6th item. Really mix and match as you see fit. I'm going Heart Seeker, so it's going to help give me some big fat crit damage numbers. You can go Aussie for more lifesteal. You can get a Blood Forge. You can get a Berserker Shield for some defense. It's a really cool item now that it's been changed. You can get yourself a Toxic Blade for anti-heal if you need it. A Brawler. There's so many options. There's really not a bad option. Just depends on the exact game that you're in. I'm going to 1 over and start this Oni Fury. I'm going to switch over to my health stance to make sure that I don't lose a single bit of HP while I am trying to do this. We got it. Now I'm going to switch over to my Autumn stance and my Freezy stance. Getting the slows on him, keeping him on him the entire time. Now I can try to get in range of my root, dashing in, trying to get in melee range for the kill, and we grab it. Back over to my healing stance so I can shove up in this left lane. I want to look for a fight right here, right now. We've got one dead. Jingwei isn't even here right now.
Into my domain and die.
Oh my gosh, we got some big damage numbers. I'm on the Khepri, he's getting slowed. Pooch on the side, we gotta be careful for that. Now we gotta be a little bit careful. We gotta retreat out Pooch. Ulti is so good for defenses like this. Throwing down the ult. They're all going to be hit with the ulti. Now Kepri can't use his. Got to dash away from the Jingwei and the Gooby ult. Switch back over to my Freezy boy stance. I've got my active still up, so I can use my beads on this, baiting in the Capri. Now I got to look at the Gooby, switching over to my healing stance, making sure I'm healing as much as humanly possible. Back over to the Phoenix. I can burn this Phoenix pretty dang fast as well. I'm trying to commit to this. Aegis online. Got to look at the Jingwei, dashing through, get the crits. That's his Aegis. I can't stop attacking him. I got to be very careful. Now I can move through here, use these minions for some heals to get our creeps pushed up here through the mid lane. Switching over to the Autumn stance to get that penetration on him. Wait for it. Dashing through this Nike to safety. Keep the slows on him right now. And now we got to make sure that our target is going to be this Jingwei above all else. Jingwei is dashing away. That is a good potential ulti right there. I've got the Wind Demon proc on me from the movement speed. Back over to the healing stance to get ourselves all healed back up. If we can kill this Jingwei, we can win the game. It's right there. Now we are gas pedaling. We got the Atalanta's bow effect. Looking in towards the Titan. I'm on the Kepri. I'm going to go in behind him. You know what time it is. It's Autumn stance into slow, baby. And now we look towards the Titan. We've got 3 people up. We've only got 1 pooch. Switching over to the damage stance right now to get bonus damage on this Titan. I got to be careful with this Ow Pooch and the Anubis. The Anubis, if he hits me with his freeze, I will be dead. We got to get up in on this. Get in here for the fight. There we go. I'm looking at the Gooby. He is slowed. He's going back to his room. Woo! Trying to dash out of the range. I'm back on the Titan. I'm not going to make it. We got to get the boys in the room. Get in there. Everybody, don't reset the Titan. This is the win. And that's how you come back from the early deficit, folks. On Cernunnos, that's how you're looking to play him in team fight. This is the Hunter build that I am leaning into currently right now here in the second half of Season 7. Like I said, these builds are going to be changing rapidly in all lanes right now because there is no set meta, which is a bunch of fun to play, but it does mean that keep your eyes on the builds as they continue to evolve and as some of these patches come through and nerf maybe some of the more OP items that people start to settle on. 48,000 damage, nothing bad at all right there, guys. And hopefully you learned something about Cernunnos.